Try not to start calling it COVID if you can. It's not a big deal.
Hey, welcome to the home workout, day 16. I am bored of what I'm doing. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to go back to it, but I am the captain of my ship. I can do whatever I want, so today I'm going to change it up. I'm going to not do what I've been doing because when I think about doing the workout and I'm not excited about it, instead of forcing myself through it, I'm just going to do something else and see if that's more entertaining for myself. The thing that is kind of, I don't know, I'm sure other people are like me, I'm not that unique, is that I can zone out on something and get it done in a self-punishment way, in a really, really easy, like if I have to correct something that I feel like I'm being judged on, it's really difficult for me to continue doing that thing because I'm just judging myself so hard doing it, which I've gotten much better at. I have become way more flexible as a person and as a thinker through Muay Thai and with Muay Thai and through mental training and all these different things that allows me to think about the technique in the way that I've been talking to you guys over the past 16 days. And I think about technique and stuff like this all the time as I'm doing it. I totally am just like a super detailed thinker. But if you tell me to do 10 sprints that I'm already tired and it seems impossible to do, I can fucking do 10 sprints. Like, I can get that done because it's just physical. Like, the mental part to me is much harder. So because I'm a little bit struggling mentally in this, like, I'm doing this high repetition because I'm trying to wash over inconsistencies and kind of smooth things out and stuff like that, I still 100% have the value for why I'm doing those exercises in high volume. But today, the thought of kind of doing the same workout I've been doing was very uninspiring to me for today. I will go back to it. So today I'm actually going to do this thing that I just let myself do the physical part. So I'm just going to Kevin and I love cattle dogs, Australian cattle dogs. And the thing about these dogs is this kind of Cesar Millan thing, which is a tired dog is a good dog kind of thing. So if I'm like in my head feeling all sad and like doing my things, or I'm like overthinking what I'm trying to work on or anything like that, get tired. Like, maybe I just need to really get tired. I feel like I'm tired. I had a really nice run yesterday by myself in these fields. It was totally nice, and then working with Kevin afterwards and stuff like that. My output right now is like so tiny compared to what it is during my regular training schedule. But it's not actually whatever it is that you do that makes you tired or not. It's the slight changes to things that you're used to, because you've learned a certain route, and so any deviation from that route can be incredibly exhausting just because it's a change. So me feeling tired is actually probably just an emotional or psychological thing to being outside of my routine and trying to create a new routine. So I'm going to get myself like truly physically tired so that I stop pretending like I'm tired in my head from laying around all day. So today's workout is going to be actually very much just a kind of like burnout physical workout for myself, getting as many muscles going as I can in a kind of like conditioning type of way. You guys are totally welcome to join me in that. Anything that you want to do. If I'm doing push-ups and you don't like push-ups, you want to do mountain climbers instead, that's totally fine. I don't know. I don't plan what I'm going to talk about ever. I just talk to you guys. So I don't know if I'm going to be coming and talking about some of the things I'm doing, because it's not technique today. It's really just kind of like taking the dog to the run and having the dog run around a lot. So we'll see how that plays out. But feel free to ask questions if you've been thinking about anything or trying anything at home and want to hear Sylvie's thoughts on it. You can ask me questions. I will be checking in between. And Kevin is watching, so if Kevin sees an interesting question or comment come up, he can shout it out to me if I happen to miss it or something like that. But yeah, I have a little bit of equipment in my room that I'm going to be using, but if you guys don't have that equipment, none of this is going to be like, you can't do it without that. So we'll try that. All right. I have these weights because I have a weight vest that's not here. So I don't have the vest, but I have the weights, and I'm going to use these for weighted shadow boxing. And it's just, we do this after training at my gym with Ajahn Gimyu. It's just weighted shadow boxing. Like, it's not super trying to get a form right or anything like that. Probably put my timer on. Ooh, it burns. on the live stream a couple of days ago, if you don't have a bag, like if you're not hitting anything, how do you work out the trajectory of your knee? This is something that really comes down to where your foot is, right? So if your foot is directly underneath your knee and you're throwing a knee like this, you're going to end up with kind of like a marching knee unless you throw your hip with it, which is like a chumuk pet diesel noi. It is coming like this, but because your hip pushes it at the end, it comes forward. But for the most part, if you do exactly this in terms of in your head what you think you're doing, but you tuck your heel to the outside of your hip, that's how you end up with a straight. It's going to come to the center of your opponent's body. You end up getting them here or up in here. It kind of comes like this, and it's from the heel being outside. That was a question a few days ago. Charles is asking about overtraining. How do I not overtrain? I managed to not overtrain, in short, because I do not believe it's a possibility. But the thing that people call overtraining, or what people worry about with overtraining, the symptoms that are associated with that 100% absolutely happen. Like, people are experiencing real things. I just don't believe that it comes from having trained too much. It comes from under-recovering. So for me, avoiding overtraining or avoiding the things that people talk about as being associated with overtraining is making sure that my rest and recovery is keeping up with what the demands are for the way that I'm training. What that means is that when I'm resting, I really need to be resting. Like, you cannot take a rest day and like play Xbox all day because your brain is just not actually recovering. You actually have to concentrate on, not in a like, I'm trying to do this. Like, you're not trying to do it, but you absolutely have to make a decision towards and really truly rest in the times that you're resting. You can't just like expect that resting is happening because you're not training. That's not really how it works. Going to the gym and being in the gym doesn't make you fit. Like, you have to actually do the work. Resting doesn't actually make you rested. You actually have to do the work for resting. So for me, I do Vipassana, which is a type of meditation. I try to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. I eat really well. Kevin and I have a diet that we call 1+1 keto, but what that really means is that we eat keto and we also fast every other day. So an entire day of not eating, fasting, and then on the days that we do eat, we eat for ketosis. So we're pretty much constantly in ketosis. I think that really helps with recovery. I did an interview for a podcast talking about this and why I think that this helps in so many different ways in terms of autophagy and like helping with recovery in terms of a like, I don't know, clearing out your body of dead cells and things like this. But for me, the reason we eat for ketosis, the reason I started is because for me, mentally, it keeps me from being like this and keeps me just a little bit more, you know, even keel like this. So in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but I am very experienced with training very, very hard. I do not believe that most people are getting anywhere close to what scientists are talking about when they talk about overtraining. But I think that the things that we actually truly experience in terms of symptoms that are associated with overtraining actually have a lot more to do with mentally how you feel about the things that you're doing. Someone who's stoked, not necessarily like I really want to be doing this, but someone who's like really invested, like David Goggins, when he's going to do like a world record of pull-ups, that could be overtraining if he like hated every second of it in a way that he wasn't motivated to do it or like trying to accomplish something. that would be miserable. That would make him feel terrible, but he wouldn't even have to do 8,000 pull-ups. He could do 4 pull-ups and get the symptoms of overtraining because he's got a certain mindset about it. So for me, overtraining is a mindset that I work very hard to stay out of and understand why I'm doing the things I do and what I'm getting out of the things that I do. And then I really focus on my rest and recovery during the times that I'm not training as part of my training regimen. So it's not an on switch and an off switch. They work together like in synthesis. So question, how much do I train each day? Now, because we're at home, social distancing, I just started doing 2-a-days a couple of days ago. So I run in the morning about, it's like 8K. Then I come home, maybe do a little bit of like conditioning in the room. So I'm doing like sit-ups, push-ups, a little bit of pull-ups and hanging and stuff like this. Hanging is literally just hanging from a bar like that. I do it for shoulder flexibility and health. And then in the afternoons, this. And after this, I'll go for another 8K run or maybe run stairs. And then when I come home, I work with my husband, Kevin, in 10-minute rounds for somewhere between like 30 minutes and an hour collectively. So that's my at-home quarantine schedule. If I were at the gym, it would be a different story. At the gym, it's like, you know, getting 2 workouts a day with all these different things involved in it. That's like the pad work, shadow, bag work, conditioning, a little bit of weights, things like that. So that's a different story in terms of how I train when I'm at the gym. But I am like way reduced from what I would be doing if I were training my regular schedule at the gym. But I think that I'll probably have a little bit of change over the time that we're going to be at home, because none of us really know how long that's going to be. So it kind of expands and contracts and depends on what I'm available to do in my surrounding area, like whether I'm able to find an isolated place to run, whether I'm able to get to those stairs, like that kind of thing. So that's generally what my work looks like at home. if you guys have like tomato cans, like canned food at home, you can use those as weights. These are not very easy to hold, so probably if you have big enough hands, cans would be all right too. All right, so 2 questions. First one is, how do you strengthen your ribs? You cannot. You don't have muscles here. That's why people target the ribs, is because they're a soft spot. And any living thing, even things we build, like tanks, have like an underbelly. They have soft spots. Nothing is like, fully enforced. So there are weak spots on the body, and there are reasons people target those. So why it's illegal to kick the knees and things like this is because it's a weak spot. Your ribs are a weak spot. They're delicate, they're floaty, and you don't really have any muscle to protect them there. So you can't strengthen your ribs, but you can strengthen blocking, not getting kicked in the ribs as much as possible. There was a guy at my first camp who would like hold a weight and do this exercise, which to me is basically the obliques, but he believed that he was strengthening the little muscles that you have that like run along the top of your ribs. You'll see bodybuilders have, they're the little kind of like scaly looking ones. He said that that was to protect him because he couldn't block every kick. Those muscles are so small that I really don't know whether they make any difference when someone who actually knows how to kick is throwing a kick. So don't try to strengthen your ribs, try to strengthen your defense is how I would answer that question. And another question was, what do I do for rest, or what does resting look like for me? That depends on where I am and what I need to be doing. Kevin and I are creating, producing, doing things for content all the time. So when I'm not at the gym and I'm not working out and I'm not actually filming or doing something like that or fighting, we are producing content all the time. So my rest that's sitting on the couch or sitting on the bed and working, like writing something or editing something or producing something, it's a little bit of rest. But what I was talking about before is like taking time to rest and really resting in that time rather than assuming it's going to happen just because you're not training. So my like focused recovery resting can be my Vipassana meditation, which is very important. I try to get that done at least an hour every day. Kevin notices when I don't get that hour. It's like very evident. I'll also, when we're not in this situation, go to a sauna/cold pool that's nearby in Jomtien. We have a very nice dry sauna, steam room, and like ice pool that's really, really good for physical recovery and just being able to like, I don't know, you get kind of a weird exhilaration as though you did cardio without actually doing any of that. And though it sounds a little bit counterintuitive because we think of resting as like laying inert on the ground, a small, like light, easy run for me, it like with no one around is actually really like recovery for me. So I don't know, I do sleep, like trying to get more sleep. I have a hard time because I can't necessarily be like, I'm gonna nap 3 hours in the day. When I first moved to Thailand, I was sleeping in the middle of the day all the time. And things have just changed. Like I just cannot sleep in the middle of the day the way that I used to. So I had to learn how to replace that sleep, or at least like deal with not having it. So if you can sleep, sleep is an incredible recovery tool. Sometimes I can't just sleep, and so what I do is I just lay there as though I'm trying to fall asleep and just rest, and not worry about the fact that I'm not falling asleep and things like that. That can be a little difficult. Helen's back on. Takun, who's the head of Sasaprapajib in Bangkok, was on for a second. So, Sawadika Takun, if you're still there. He's a very, very nice man. The first time Kevin and I came to Thailand, it was like a 10-week trip, and we went up to Lana for a couple of weeks, and I fought twice. And then we went down to Bangkok to Sasaprapajim, which is where I met Takun. And unfortunately, there was a political situation at that time that made it so that I wasn't able to get 2 fights in Bangkok, but I got 1. And I trained at Sasaprapa for a couple of weeks. It was a very cool, nice gym in Bangkok. So if you guys are looking for a Bangkok gym, Sasaprapa has been around for a long, long time. And Takun's brother was a very, very well-known boxing champion. So like Western boxing. When Kevin and I went home to my parents' house in, I think it was for like Christmas or something, it was like, I don't think maybe we were married already, I don't know. But it was before we went to Thailand, and we watched The Contender. So that's where we learned who John Wayne Parr was, that's where we learned who Yotsun Clay was, like, The Contender was the thing. But Sean Wright was on that show, and then Sean Wright used to train at Lana up in Chiang Mai where I started, but I never met him there. I happened to meet him after seeing him on the Contender at Takun's gym, at Sasa Prapa gym, and he had this incredible low kick that he just killed this American guy with on the Contender. And he taught me that low kick. I think we have a video of him showing me how to do that low kick and how you like pump your arms like a sprinter. Very, very cool. You meet people in gyms and they just very generously like show you things. That was my like moment of meeting someone famous when I first came to Thailand. Hi, Helen. Helen Garnett's on again. All right. Try to get a good sweat on, which is nice. A little more active. All right. Dennis asked if I bring my arm across my face through a roundhouse. I think so. I don't know. Yep. Alright, so I'm going to do sit-ups, pull-ups, things that require me to go over there. But thank you guys for watching the dog just doing strips on the beach in order to kind of get a little bit more physicality in my circuit. That was fun. If you guys have any questions or videos or anything, Muay Thai Forum is a really good place for people to go right now to connect with people all around.
Diesel Noise just joined.
So the Kapidoi, Diesel Noise watching. So if you guys want to discuss anything, talk about anything, share videos, anything like that, Muay Thai Forum on 8limbsus.com, Muay Thai Forum. Definitely go over there and, I don't know, throw some things on there. I've been getting some questions from people a little bit more so. I get questions all the time, but I've been getting a few more in the past couple of days, like I'm reaching a new audience or something. And a lot of people, this is not anyone's fault, a lot of people ask me the same questions. There could be like a Sylvie FAQ, but a lot of times if you go over to the Muay Thai Forum, those questions have been answered well before, and so you can go over there and get questions about like gym reviews or something like that, where I recommend people training in Thailand is one that I get a lot. And that actually is a really good place on the forum because I have actually not trained at a lot of different gyms. When I go and train for the Muay Thai Library, I'm training with one person, and for like an hour, I don't have extensive experience at a lot of different gyms. But other people do. There are people who have spent weeks, months, you know, come back over multiple years to the same gym, and they have really, really good reviews over there if you guys are interested in that. So when this clears and we're all safe to travel again and you want to come back to Thailand, or you're currently in Thailand and you want to try a different gym, that's the place to go look and see what you're interested in. Thank you guys. We just did a voiceover today for the Muay Thai Library, so that session will be in the Muay Thai Library very, very soon. That's Chan Chai, who yesterday, if you guys joined me, I was working on some of these detailed parts of his teep game and trying to get this like simultaneity in my feet. So I was doing a voiceover for that this afternoon. That will be published for my patrons in the Muay Thai Library shortly. And if you want to go back and look at yesterday's session talking about those details of the teep, and then going and watching the session yourself so you can get a lot out of it. That'd be really cool. Thank you to my patrons who make everything I do when I'm not resting possible. And I enjoy it. I love it. Thank you guys very much for allowing me to always come up with new and different and more interesting, more expansive content to put up, not only for my patrons as exclusive content, but also content that's free for everybody, which includes like this interview we did with Dieselnoy, watching his fight with Samart Payakaroon, and interviewing him a little bit about his life and his experiences in this fight that nobody had seen before. Stuff like that is just super precious, super cool, and thank you guys for making that possible. I'm going to also go for a run where there are no people around, so take it easy. I'll see you guys later.